Hi, my name is Eric Smith. I'm with Forest River Coachman Class A Division. I'm going to walk you through a couple things today. First of all, we're going to teach you how to winterize your unit. There's a couple different ways to do that. We'll go through them roughly, make sure you understand the process. Second step to that is in the summer, in the spring, whenever you decide to get it out, or if you don't put it up, every once in a while you're going to want to sanitize your system. Make sure that your drinking water system is clean, that you got a safe drinking water supply coming through there. So at the end of the winterization, de-winterize, you're going to want to sanitize the system. You can do this in the middle of the season too. If you park it for a little while, even if you don't have to winterize it, not a bad idea. It's not a real lengthy process. It's certainly not expensive. Go ahead and just sanitize it. Just make sure that you've got good water. Okay. So the system itself, first thing first is you're going to want to get rid of any of the large water sources that just store water. The water filter is one of those things. First thing to do, go ahead and take this cup off of there, empty the water out of it. Take your filter out of it. You don't want to leave your filter in here. You start the season back up next year, go ahead and put a new filter in it, you're good to go. They're disposable filters. The other one is the water heater bypass and the water heater. You're going to want to actually bypass your water heater via the water heater bypass valves, and we'll show a picture of that on the video here so you can see that. But there's also a plug on the water heater that you're going to want to remove and make sure that you get all of the water out of that. Now, after you get to that point, this is where they kind of separate themselves. You got two options. You can do it with an antifreeze or you can do it with a pressurized air. The antifreeze version, make sure that you're using RV antifreeze that's designated specifically for water sources. Never want to use an automotive antifreeze. That's poisonous. Stay away from that at all costs. RV antifreeze, you can find it at any of your suppliers. Most of the big box stores and stuff are carrying that stuff these days too. Really easy to find. Hunt that up. As you're getting all the water out of your system, a couple things that you're gonna want to keep in mind is that you've always got appliances in the unit. You may have a refrigerator that warrants an ice maker that you're going to need to deal with the water in there. Those are best served by the instructions for the manufacturer. Washers and dryers, if your unit was equipped with a washer and dryer, run that on a warm cycle, and that'll actually run your hot and your cold, any residual water that's in the water lines, get that out of there. So you're going to want to have your pump on. You're going to want to have your fresh water tank empty as you're leading into all this. Open all your spigots, push the pedal down on your toilet to get that water to bleed through. Anything and everything that has water going to it in the motorhome, you're going to want to burp that system. Make sure for a period of time that you've got just air coming out of there. So once you get to there, there's actually a water pump. Usually in the compartment, we have a couple units where it's actually stowed away somewhere else. But typically in there, we actually give you a bypass hose that you can hook directly to the inlet on your water pump. Run that into some antifreeze. You're going to want to count on probably 4 to 6 gallons of antifreeze at this point. You can dilute that antifreeze down, and the specifics for all that you'll find on your website. I'll give you directions to that, but you're going to want to pump that antifreeze into the system and then go through all those points that we just talked about and make sure that you open those valves again and run that until you actually see that antifreeze, the discolored water actually coming out of the appliance. That'll ensure that the whole line has been swept and that you've got antifreeze going in there. The hot water heater on the other side, like we talked about, that's actually going to be dealt with just by getting the water out of there and just making sure that the water is absent of that. The other way that you can do this, just a quick heads up, is actually with the air system, which is the way we actually winterize them here at the plant. And you can actually buy a blowout plug. And what that does is where your city water connection is right here, you can actually take the screen out of this and you can put a blowout plug in right there, and you can use compressed air to blow the system out. Same thing, go through, open everything up, crack everything, and put the pressurized air into the system. Same thing, you're going to want to make sure that your water filter's out. You're going to want to make sure that your water heater is bypassed, and as you're doing that. Important note, you're going to want to make sure that that's a regulated amount of pressure going through there. The final test that we do with the appliances hooked to this is at 30 pounds. You don't ever want to exceed that because it can damage the appliances. Real easy to deal with a regulator. Blow everything through. The one thing that you're going to need to do with both of these though is at the end of that, you're going to have some residual water in your P-traps, in your tanks, and sorts of that. So what you're going to want to do after that is go in and take about a quart of antifreeze. You're going to want to put that down every one of your P-traps, for your shower, for your any of your lavs, your outside kitchens, whatever it might be. Run some antifreeze down there. That's just going to ensure that the P-trap has antifreeze in it to make sure that it's not standing water in there and going to cause you some plumbing issues later on. On the toilets, we recommend that you actually put antifreeze in the toilet and then flush that so it actually goes into the black tank, and then put about a quart or so of antifreeze in on top of the seal. Make sure the seals don't dry out for you over the season. Once you've accomplished all that, you're going to want to make sure that any ports going into the motorhome, like your low points and stuff, remain open, just to let as much pressure out of the system as possible. On the other side of that, you've actually got, now that you're done, you're de-winterized. If you've got antifreeze in the system, first thing you're going to want to do when you're de-winterizing is just get rid of it. So we recommend doing that is just kind of tying that in with your sanitation. So any antifreeze you got in there, just run some water through the motorhome, run it clear until you're just getting water out of it. All your faucets and everything like that. The next step is to actually get the solution that you're going to sanitize it with in there, and household bleach is perfect for this. You don't need nothing concentrated that's going to throw the values of this off. Doesn't have to be anything wild and crazy, just normal household bleach. You're actually going to mix that at a 1/4 cup per gallon of water, 1/4 cup of bleach per gallon of water. And when you do that, real easy, if you already have the information for the size of your freshwater tank and those sorts of things, is actually just pour that bleach right in a water hose, plug it in, turn your water hose on, and that'll actually force it into the system. You can use the that actually on your, not your city water connection, you're actually going to want to do that at your fresh water fill. And the reason you want to do that is we're trying to bring that level all the way to the top of that freshwater tank. We want to make sure that every inch of that is covered. So fill that up, make sure that your freshwater tank is to full with the solution. And then after you do that, turn your water pump on, open all your faucets, run it through all your appliances, and you're going to want to get a nice flow of water through there. Once you reach that point, come back out, run some more potable water, drinking quality water into your fresh water fill. Okay, what that's going to do, we're going to replace the balance of that water that was in the freshwater tank, make sure that all that is covered, and then you're going to want to let that set for about 3 hours, at least 3 hours, 3-4 hours. Come back out, go through the whole process again. Okay, it actually goes pretty quick as far as hands-on time. Hook your water hose back up if it's not already. Turn your hose on. Just flood the system. Okay, you want to drain all the water out of the fresh water tank and just get clean flowing water through there. You were just trying to get everything out of it right now. This is absolutely perfectly safe to do with your water heater. You're going to run clean water through your water heater too. Important part again is just make sure we get all that back out of the system after the fact. Not a problem. Just make sure you leave everything run once you're getting clean water for 30-45 seconds, and then you can fill it up with your fresh water as you're heading out onto the road. You're good to go. So that's general overview. This is kind of abbreviated for video's sake. Again, everything that we cover in these videos, there's a whole host of that information in a longer format on our website at coachmanrv.com. Feel free to check us out on Facebook. And as always, we appreciate your business.